This is the perennial, eponymous, or whatever, mandatory episode of the bike riding podcast where I ride a bike. I think you guys might find it quite interesting, actually. See, like, up here, I have, like, paler skin. And it kind of shows more imperfections, right? I actually think fluorescent light is, it looks better than that. But here, my skin looks kind of buttery. Looks like, roasted chestnuts. It kind of gets more of the colors in there, right? Whoa. So, okay. I was gonna do the second half of this video, which is like 2010 singles, and I was gonna elaborate on like the rest of them and be like, yeah, so after Green Light and I'm So Fancy, now we have all the right things in all the right places. Whoa. But I thought that actually wouldn't be really fit for being on a bike, because if you're on a bike, you're in the state of something where you can't hold a piece of paper with a bunch of names on it, and you're also in a state where you can't hold two phones at once that have both have names on them do. And taking pictures of the lists, I don't like that in any way. I don't like taking pictures of paper. What set does that precedent? If you think about it. Whoa, the lighting. There's so much lighting. So much different lighting. Woo! So anyway, the terrain sort of stuff, what I was thinking of recently was the repetition of experiences. Well, I think of that all the time because it kind of like works well for like as a standard of thinking where you apply the same sort of assumed knowledge base, general knowledge base, which isn't actually a knowledge base, but it's more of a philosophical knowledge base, to like everything. And a philosophical knowledge base is just like you're saying bullshit because you're pleased by that bullshit. You're like, yeah, that's enough. That sounds kind of cool. That sounds rosy and stuff. So repetition is a thing, and repetition has a good way of sort of like getting out the exotic factors of things. Hence flanderization, where upon the sort of continued integration into the plot, mirroring the experience of people watching the show who are like, oh, this is going to shit, but still watch it. The character just becomes psychotic, and a simplified, cliched version of themselves, because most people wouldn't even really, be like, oh, so that's not him, because it happens over time, and it happens in such a way that plenty of people could probably be like, no, that's Ned Flanders, because they weren't really watching closely in the first place, If you really want to watch someone closely, you'll see they change a lot over time. So even by the standard of trying to identify something, it becomes slippery. So you lose your character in the sort of mold of writing and all that stuff, all the writers. Even if you were like, hey, let's keep to this sort of rubric, you could probably still lose it, because it's like a memory in your head of something that you can't quite name, but which kind of morphs over time to adjacent itself to a bunch of other malfactors. And that's how a lot of language works, right? Is that well, especially if you're like going to language and through language and all about language, is that so the words you pick are, they're never the best words. Who has the best words? Who loves the sun, as Lou Reed would say? Because the more enlightening something is, that doesn't really mean anything. So words work on a social level, but they also work on a psychological level, right? And the psychological level is where you get like, oh, I like his style of speaking, That's where you get like taste making, because it's harder to agree upon, or it's even harder to even agree with yourself upon, because yeah, I mean, it's just how things are acted out. Like, why am I saying things with these lilting clauses and sort of half-reasoned things, sort of flowers growing out of other flowers, killing those flowers, and you're like, how about those flowers before? You didn't explain those. I don't know. I'm sorry. The brain moves, and the brain continues to move. And the brain moving is what a writer, whether they're a fiction writer or a nonfiction writer, tries to imitate. Because beyond the workings of the world itself, although some person might have an insight into everything you're going to do, they'll never have an insight into why you do it. They can never enjoy it like you do it. They can never feel it like you feel it. Each person has an evidently intractable stew of motivations, which, inch skin deep motivations that I just saw a neighbor, yes, at like 4 a.m. That's his fault. Wait, what a.m. is it? 3, it might be 6. Who the fuck cares? Anyway, so like, taste making. The individual particulars of stuff where, for one, you could ascertain the properties of stuff and be like, I want to do this and that and this and that. But then you can also ascertain the properties of stuff, on the other hand, to sort of be like, what are you feeling like crashing into a car? Is that the Asian guy from 13 Reasons Why? You missed him. Sounds better with you. One of my list of 1990s songs is this stuff playing right now. This is a biking vlog. I'm just a regular Casey Neistat, huh? This is called multitasking. Oh, no, not even multitasking, because this isn't even that really hard. It doesn't take up my breath, so it's easier to like bike and talk than it is to like run and talk. Of course I am breathing more, but not that much more, just through my nose. So I think still recording. I don't know when it'll stop recording. I feel like my data banks are... I don't even know how much of this is going to be heard. I didn't even think about that, actually. I mean, I did, but it didn't. I guess I can hear it, but I can hear my voice. You know? But that's because it's inside my head. I imagine my voice is actually more high-pitched because I have listened to my voice before. Because I have like a slight lisp that, or like an anti-lisp that lets me say stuff fast and sort of stop in the middle of a sentence. I sort of sound like Jello Biafra or something. Biking up a hill. Biking up a hill. Fight the power. Row, row, fight. Okay, get out of the way. Ooh, a car. Get out of the way of that other car. No car behind me. So, yeah. Anyway, philosophy, kind of that funky shit. You know, how many times have you heard an argument like, fucking, reparations, crime, disproportionate, mandatory minimum sentences, hypergamy, fucking, leadership, responsibility, clean your room, fucking like, darkness and chaos. Darkness and chaos. It looks lighter on the camera than it does. And of course it's grainier too. Grain. Grain. What is this? Like, it's devolved. Because at first it had a purpose of like, what was the purpose of this video? Just like talking shit about myself? Like I talk and 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 I talk and... Stop it! I do not want to hear any more of this. You should stop talking, because I will kill myself if you keep talking. I will kill myself. Yo, I feel like Elton John when he tried to kill himself. Yo! So, repetition is a theme. Sort of trying to get new experiences to just replicate old experiences. Which society does a lot. You know, you might not really see it. You might think like, oh, they're just, you know, elaborating on it. Some people might not know. But it's like, if some people aren't gonna know, like, they don't get it, then after a while it's like, what's the point? Don't try to teach people. That's for the snails. Repetitive civilization, based in distinctions, based in specialization, based in individuality. A whole bunch of things that can make repetition more amicable. And people sometimes fail to really take account for this. How everything is basically the same. Even like different sides that are antagonistic towards each other are sort of repetitions of the same factor, like two people sort of making a pyramid with their hands and like playing basically chicken balance chicken with who's gonna fall first, or like pushing hands, Tai Chi. I don't know if any of you guys know Tai Chi. Tai Chi is my friend. He likes Thai cheese, and he's very tiny. His friend is named Tyrese, and he's from Chirac, and he wants a cheeseburger from McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King. This is dissociating hour. This is where I talk into the camera to pretend I'm doing something. Whoa, I'm gonna be hit by a car. But I wasn't. Ha, fuck you. Yeah. What do you guys think to yourselves? My 0 commenters. Whoa. I think it might be starting to rain, so I think I should go home. I don't know. I consider thinking to myself somewhat of a sport. That's what I do, I just think. I don't really think about anything in particular. I just sort of ruminate and like boil over. Sort of like that. Is this water from the trees? I said water from the trees. Watch me roam as I take your knees. I'm gonna make a crossword puzzle, so 1 across 8 letters is fuck you. Okay? So then two down, which is 2 above the 4th letter of number 1 across, and then 6 letters down, so it's 9 letters long, is a city that is a sauce. Okay? Yeah, I should really go home. This is some serious sauce. Don't get electrocuted, don't get electrocuted. Hey, hey, what? Hey, hey, come out and play. Gotta keep him educated. How many songs are like that where there's just one part where you're like, okay. Okay. That's what I believe. I believe, okay. Can we have a ideology like that? Okay. All right. Okay. That's how you really feel about it then. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Fucking Christ. One day I'll be like, nah, fuck you. One day I'll be like, okay, fuck you. You know? Let's get it. Let's get the sauce. 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 Non-entertaining content. This is just somebody who's retarded and doesn't know how to rhyme. Is there a car behind me? You're not allowed to put cars behind me. I don't like cars. A car once, he barked at me because I was a mailman. He was like, honk, 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 honk. I was just trying to steal the car to put mail in it. This is terrible. Adiatric C, Ionian C. Man, I have such a fat face. Biking, carring. What do they call driving in a car? Do they call it carring? I think trucking is technically a word. Right? Keep on trucking. The Robert Crumb cartoon, Keep on Trucking, in the free world, Bruce Springsteen. These are things that you and I may or may not know. Jesse J. Juicy Q. Jesse Q. Jesse Q. Jesse Q. Jesse R. Can you believe it? Jesse S. Whoa. Jesse T. You see, this is the part where people think I might be making a point. Like, it's about, like, things are recycled and shit. And, like, everything has been done before. Money, money, sex, sex, power, power, fuck, fuck. No, I'm just fucking, I'm crazy! Is there any conclusion? You see, that's where repetition doesn't happen. And things that you can't put words to. Like, what am I? I don't know. Am I, like, I think there's like a type of sort of normal and unaffected you can get to, where you're basically like, this is sound fucking effects. Is like, you know, like, you're like, I don't want to do the dishes, but then you're like, you sort of like, anguish reaches peak and it's almost orgasmic. Like, I do the dishes, I am Joan of Arc. Then you're like, I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Mustache in a supernova. That sort of plays. You have like Chili's baby back ribs. And I was trying to do a Kiss song, but I just did a Clutch song because it's also sort of desert rock. That's good enough. Everything in the 90s that's rock is ska, actually. It's actually ska. I don't know. Does my hair look good like this? It looks better from the side. I'm gonna be hit by a car. Haha. Really funny. You're mirroring the perception of the audience back at you. Now you're mirroring the perception of yourself back at you. Woo hoo hoo! Ha 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 ha! Damn. Said you are what you eat. Whoa. Handed me some jerks. What is this? What is this? Is this some Jim Carrey? Like, oh, it's a statement. Shia LaBeouf. It's a statement. Oh, I can do more things with camera now. You think that I'm actually really moving around now? Whoa. Maybe that's a point of filming things. Is sort of like, huh? Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah, stuff like that, where you can't assign stuff to that. I think that's novel. I think that's sort of new. Because the newest thing you can do is to not do stuff. You know, the world is a constantly growing place. And the second you make something, then that becomes sort of warped like everything else. Because it's like when a rock is like around like wind and water, because the rock is really still, right? And so like something being stretched in a black hole, you can kind of perceive it as moving, as applying to new situations, but it's not really. I wonder how the audio is going to be on this. I don't know. Look at my fingers. That's how you do your fingers. If you want to do your fingers on a bike while riding. Because it's like you get more kind of like you got one finger and the other finger. Whereas this, you know, you're more likely to like sway around. However, this, you get more of like a counterbalance. Push. Push. You gotta push. I guess this video's over.